I'm so happy to see all of you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I've got a bad throat, I'll still try. I have two mics given in front of me. I've never seen more redundant objects in my life. They're not taking any chances. Sudhaji, my dear friend Sanjay Pinto, my dear friend M.R. Venkatesh, to whom I can never say no. He's missing me too, and I'm missing you on TV, M.R. It's really, really, really nice and heartwarming today to be among you. But I'm a little perplexed. On the one side, you say you miss me, and then you put up a subject saying, how tolerant are we, with my picture on it. In the age of double meaning, I don't know what to make of this. But I missed you too. Every night I miss you. During Jallikattu, missed you. When Jayalalitha passed away, at that time I missed you. When this drama of Shashikala happened. And when some anchors were trying to be politically correct, because that's the new fashion, you're politically correct, I missed you. When Suresh Kalmadi almost became president of the IOA again 6 weeks after I quit. I missed you. I wanted to go on the streets and scream again. When Masara Talam got released in Kashmir, a known terrorist, a defender of Pakistan, and nobody said a word, I missed you then. When 30 women got groped on New Year's Eve in MG Road, in Bengaluru and in Kamanahalli, and when at that point of time, instead of focusing on what was happening in Bengaluru, the national media reported with ruthless detail the jugalbandi between Akhilesh and Mulayam for 3 weeks. Not talking about what happened in Bengaluru, then I missed you. I wanted to come back. But I don't have a satellite yet. And my studio is not ready. But you want the breaking news, Sanjay. You call your cable operator after this, okay? We're coming back in 2 months. And Republic is not just India's first independent news venture. It is not just the first defining step of India's global news venture, which it will be with your blessings and our combined work. Republic is not just a news channel for me. It is not just a .com. Republic is now a people's movement. And it is our movement. But today, as I speak to you, I want to say more. I want to tell you more. I want to tell you about what we are on the cusp of, what we are going to do as we leap into the future. I want to tell you about what Republic is about. I've been a journalist 21 years. I walked up the staircase of NDTV 21 years back. I was taken to a small room in solitary confinement. In a very deep voice, someone told me, remember, son, remember, never express your opinion. Something went wrong. Last 10 years have been magnificent. Every day I get hate tweets from across the political spectrum. I've had threats. So many people have said, we will make you lose your job, you will be on the streets. Arnab, it will be worth nothing for you at the end, for you. It will be worth nothing for you at the end. They've been calling me, some crazy people call me a Congress supporter. Some people call me a Sanghi. Some call me a BJP supporter. Nobody now calls me a Subramaniam Swamy supporter. I'm not talking of Mr. Swamy himself. Some people say he's a right-winger. The list goes on. Today, I want to explore before you a question which will define what kind of journalism I do and what kind of journalism I truly believe in, and that question actually is in that. How tolerant are we? And I want to talk about my profession. And I will put 6 questions before you today. And at the end of it, we'll have a conversation on the subject. Question 1, how tolerant are we? And I will elucidate each one with examples before you today to raise a principal question. At the end of this conversation, we'll talk about what the future of Indian journalism should be, what we are doing right, what we have done terribly wrong, and what we need to change and change immediately. And from that, I will soak the answers, and then we will go, and together we will launch Republic 2 months from now. My first question to you is this. Why are the tolerant so intolerant? And can we tolerate it any longer in this republic? Those people who say we are the tolerant, we preach tolerance, we talk about tolerance. Why are they so intolerant in turn? Let me give you example number 1, if I may. There's a documentary called India's Daughter by Leslie Adwin, which was put out about 2 years back. The inexplicable tolerance of the intolerable by some part of the media. Let me lay before you the facts. 3rd March 2015, exactly 795 days, that is 2 years, 2 months and 4 days after Nirbhaya's death. That's the timing. What was the story in its own words? A British documentary filmmaker, Leslie Adwin, makes a documentary on Nirbhaya's rape, which included in great detail, for some salacious reason, a detailed interview with the rapist in plain clothes a month after the Indian courts convicted him of death. The starting point was a story which we picked up from The Guardian on 3rd March 2015. The irony was that the self-proclaimed tolerant and liberal media brigade in Lutyens, Delhi, were willing to give a prime-time slot to the rapist on national and global television. I still remember the words of the rapist Mukesh Singh. They seep and ring in my ears, and it is here before me. Mukesh Singh, the rapist, says, and this is what the channel was fighting for in the name of liberal media and freedom of expression. Mukesh Singh says, the rapist says, you cannot clap with one hand. It takes 2 hands. A decent girl won't roam around at night. A girl is more responsible for rape than a boy. About 20% of girls are good. She should just be silent and allow the rape. Then they would have dropped her off after doing her and only hit the boy. And I sat in a newsroom for a moment, trying to rationalize how we have reached such levels of tolerance so as to tolerate a rapist's description of rape on national and global television. And if this is what BBC teaches as good journalism, I don't want to learn anything from them. The hypocrisy is this, and I'll take this discussion forward, that the same British media that positioned itself as though it was leading the women's movement in India by simply propping up its cameras through the candlelight vigils and protests around Nirbhaya's brutal rape in December 2012 became the very platform that allowed the broadcast of that rapist on its TV screen, and then grew growingly intolerant when I questioned why the media in this republic should give a platform for a rapist for a stage to broadcast his brute and bestial mindset. So my first question on the issue today, how tolerant are we, is this. Let me give a second example. And I really want to do some plain speaking today, because I've not been given the chance for 2.5 months. So you are my unsuspecting victims. So I wrote down these examples and I said, let me start a conversation, because this country is not having a conversation for a few months. Something has gone terribly wrong. It's like we are a country of politically correct people, saying the right thing, observing the right thing. Anyway, on 18th September 2016, 7 months, 9 days, that is 222 days after the liberals in India were outraged that our team, when I was with Times Now, spoke against the anti-India slogans that were chanted like an anthem in the campus of Jawaharlal Nehru University, something happened. For me, as Sudha said clearly, there is a right and wrong. There is a white and black. There is a truth and untruth. There is falsehood and there is truth. There is reality and fiction. There is no gray area there. We cannot alternate between the two. What was embedded in my experience of the hypocrisy of the liberal lobby shone right through this country and the rest of the world on 18 September 2016, when 19 of our Jawans were martyred in Uri. There were no protests. There was no candlelight vigil. There was no petition. JNU was quiet. Kanhaiya disappeared. He was nowhere to be seen. There was no championing of causes. The hypocrisy is this, that the same lobby that pretends in their own convenient way, of course, to be the torchbearers of our national interest in the 21st century under the garb of freedom of expression, to be torchbearers of where the country should go or not go, these are the people who were absolutely silent when 19 of our martyrs died in Uri. Which is my first question. We start this conversation today on this subject. Why are the tolerant so intolerant, and can we tolerate it any longer in this republic? My second question is this. Should there be tolerance in this republic for those who run down our country? It's a very simple and straightforward question. We all stood for the national anthem right before this. Which direction, I say, is our tolerance headed? That is the focal question this evening. Should we become so tolerant in the garb of becoming a liberal society? What people say is an open society. Should we become so tolerant that we begin to grow immune to everything that goes against India's national interest? Last year, there was a bizarre debate. A bizarre debate broke up when JNU happened. Everything was suddenly about, can I run down my country and be considered to be a liberal? What was my education for? Why am I educated? Why did I go to a foreign university? Why am I in JNU if I cannot have my own opinion on whether India should break up or not? I mean, if your position is so infantile that the only way to provoke people is to demand the secession of India, then you should go back to kindergarten. But the point is not that. The point is, I recall being in the studio as the headlines were flying past last year, trying to wrap my head around how not standing up for the flag or not standing up for the national anthem had suddenly in India in February 2016 become some kind of a fashion statement for a particular faction. And while I make my position clear, it was only a matter of time that I saw a pattern to it. There is a pattern to it. The fact is, there is a thread of tolerance for those who oppose standing up for the flag. But those who say it's okay to make a fashion statement and sit while the national anthem is playing is exactly the same lobby that clamors and fights and demands mercy for Yaqub Memon. Should I be blind to it? Sanjay says, connect the dots. I'm connecting the dots. And the reality is this, and I'm asking a question. Is tolerance in India defined as supporting the likes of Yaqub Memon and keeping quiet about the celebration of our flag or our national anthem? This is a question I think we must ask now. Is it liberal and tolerant that a convicted terrorist is labeled innocent and the lives of 257 people who died in the 1993 attacks takes a backseat to the human rights of Yaqub Memon? Is it liberal and tolerant that a man labeled the architect of the worst terror attacks in India is projected like a face of victimhood and persecution? And if it is liberal, and if it is tolerant, then why is it not liberal and a burning degree of saying that we will not tolerate talks with Pakistan till they stop killing our soldiers? Why is it not liberal to call Maoists out on their violence? Why is it not liberal to question the selective hypocrisy of those returning their awards? And why is it not liberal to question someone who refuses to stand up for the national anthem? I asked the counter questions. We want the counter questions, which takes me to question number 3. And question number 3 on the same subject. The point this evening is this: should there be a prolonged tolerance for duplicity on tolerance? Let me explain it. What are we here to discuss today? The point this evening is of duplicity and bowing down to duplicity. The point this evening is of our combined intolerance for hypocrisy. The point this evening is about the residing collective apathy to selective action, selective outrage, and selective intolerance. The point, therefore, as Sudha rightly pointed out, is about perpetually and dangerously being tolerant to living in a perpetual state of gray. Now let me tell you, I'm talking to you in Tamil Nadu. I will now elucidate my argument with points. My point is this. I have 3 questions. Question number 1, Jallikattu versus Greenpeace. Let's deal with the issues one by one. On January 12th, 2017, the Supreme Court rejected a plea by a group of lawyers seeking an urgent ruling on a clutch of petitions on Jallikattu so that the sport can be organized during this year's celebrations. My question is this, and think about it. Why is it that those who question Jallikattu are the same people, are the exact same people? Connect the dots, Sanjay. They are the same people who refused to question Greenpeace when in April 2015 it came to the fore, according to official records, that this environmental NGO had run into a plethora of FCRA violations. Connect the dots. My job as a journalist is to connect the dots. We're not doing it for the last 3 months. We're not reading the motives. We are not seeing the truth. We're reporting things in black and white, and absolutely correct. If the job of a reporter is to just chronicle events, then he should not become a reporter. He should stand in a court and write down exactly every judgment as it is passed. My question is this. Let's go on Jallikattu versus Greenpeace. Why is it that in April 2015, when my group of journalists had put out in the public domain official documents showing that the intelligence agencies of India had reasons to believe that Greenpeace was not working only against India's economic interest, but also had its accounts frozen and license deregistered on the basis of documents that proved that this foreign-funded NGO indulged in several FCRA violations. Why, ladies and gentlemen, was there a muteness by those who positioned themselves as tolerant and liberal? All those people who spoke about it, not one of them said that Greenpeace was breaking the rules. These are the same people who took a position on Jallikattu. I see a motive there. And why is it that those who stand for the environmental good that Greenpeace supposedly is doing in India are completely quiet about the nuclear installations in the rest of the world? Why have we become so immune to allowing those self-proclaimed, quote-unquote, liberals of this country to become torchbearers of those who oppose India's national interest? These are questions which we have not asked. Now let me go further into detail. My question is the duplicity on tolerance. Question number 2, the Salman Rushdie ban. Example number 2, the Salman Rushdie ban versus the Taslima ban. In November 2015, a senior member of the Congress party by the name of P. Chidambaram, I'm not mentioning the other senior member, he strolled out suddenly and he had a revelation. He said that the ban on Salman Rushdie's satanic verses was a mistake. You remember that? This fantastic acknowledgement by Chidambaram, 27 years after the book was banned, during the Rajiv Gandhi government. Salman Rushdie then tweeted by saying, and I quote him, "How many more years before the ban is corrected?" Unquote. Relevant question, ladies and gentlemen. But tell me, how many people stood up for Taslima Nasreen in Hyderabad in 2007? When Asaduddin Owaisi's All India MIM attacked her with bricks at a book release function. Where was the media then? Where was this liberal media when a woman called Taslima Nasreen was being physically attacked and assaulted in Hyderabad by a party whose leader stands up in parliament, Owaisi, and says that I am a Democrat and I am a liberal? None of them, none of these, the liberal media hid its necks like ostriches at that point of time. Nobody spoke a word. How many people stood up for Taslima when 20 hoodlums of the All India MIM, led by an elected MLA, physically attacked her in a press club in Hyderabad? Was it tolerant of secularism not to take to the streets then? Questions we must ask. Example number 3. Vishwarupam versus national interest. And if you think you have to give me security as I go out, it's fine, but I'll say what I want to. Should I speak as I feel? Or should I think that because the gentleman is shooting everything, it's going to go on YouTube and somebody is going to misunderstand and retweet this, put me in controversy? Should I pull back? Should I say what I think? Okay. Might as well say it. No, I don't have any bodyguards. I have no security. You are my security. Vishwarupam versus national interest. And I want somebody on the other side to debate with me today. Anyone? In January 2013, some faction Islamic organization asked for the Kamal Haasan starrer Vishwarupam to be screened to them first, as if we don't have enough sanskari censor babas in this country. I really will need security today, I think. They said they were concerned about the depiction of the community. Understood. The government of this very state, ladies and gentlemen, buckled and put the film on hold for 15 days and later banned the film release momentarily in the state despite it being cleared by the CBFC. My question is this: isn't there an open and clear duplicity, not just in factions of pseudo-liberals in India, but also in selectively by the elected representatives of our governments to buckle for the sake of appeasing a particular faction? When will this appeasement end? I ask, why should a state be brought down to its knees and buckle and negotiate with irrelevant factions whose only existence breeds on the resolve to divide our country on various lines? I say don't compromise with them. Then why is that appeasement continuing? Question number 4, Yasin Malik and the Hurriyat versus Army. On February 13th, 1992, Yasin Malik was arrested in Delhi on charges that he received lots of cash from Pakistan's ISI for promoting terrorist organizations in the Kashmir Valley. They recovered 4.5 lakh from his possession. They were charge-sheeted by the CBI. It was alleged that during 1985 to 1992, Malik conspired with 4 other accused from different terrorist outfits for aiding and abetting terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. And yet today, there seems to be a lobby portraying Yasin Malik as the messiah of the Kashmiri people. I ask why? Why are these the same people who fight for the freedom of Yasin Malik, the same people who went quiet when Uri, Baramulla and Pathankot happened later this year? Think of the examples that I am giving you. Jallikattu, Greenpeace, Rashti, Taslima, Vishwarupam, National Interest, Yasin Malik, Hurriyat, Yaqub Memon. It will appear to you if you just sweep through these names, it will appear to you there's no link between them. But what I'm saying is there is a clear link between them. Question number 4. Why was there a prolonged tolerance in this country for corruption? And why did we make Manmohan Singh the paragon, the centerpiece, and the poster boy of clean government in India? He was anything but. Anything but. My journalism is very clear. Plain vanilla journalism has no scheme in my place of things. Journalism is meant to be an inquisition. If we need to believe in journalism of impact, then we must also believe that such impact is possible only if you confront authority. In other words, tolerance should not be a tool for you to tolerate the wrongs. Question is this. On February 16, 2011, I had a great moment in my career. I went inside 7 Racecourse Road for the first time in my life. I had left Delhi as some kind of an evolved cub reporter. The people of India backed me, life was good, and I returned as an editor who got an invitation to 7 Racecourse Road. And it was a big event. In fact, it was breaking news because Manmohan Singh had decided to speak. It's such fun. I was very nervous as I was going in, and I said, what am I going to do? And I called everybody, my political reporter, political editor, everybody, ki kya karu, I'm really tense. I said, what's your problem? They said, I said, there's one shot at a question you get in a Prime Minister's live press conference. They said, you should try to be number 1 or number 2 in the sequence, then you get to ask the question. Unfortunately, I was number 14 out of 15 editors, I don't know why, and I had my personal set of bodyguards entering. 6 months before that, we were part of the biggest campaign against corruption, CWG, 2G, Aircel Maxis, Devas ISRO, Adarsh, Kargil for Profit. We'd been through an amazing 6 months before that. The country was talking about corruption. Every morning, day and night, it was corruption. Documents were coming at my door. We were discussing, debating. I was so disappointed. I was questioned. I was editor number 14. And I sat there waiting for my turn. While the whole country was speaking about corruption, not one editor asked the Prime Minister a single question about corruption before my turn came. This was the coziest club I had seen. This was the bar of Delhi Gymkhana which had come right into 7 Racecourse Road. I'm not saying Manmohan Singh was drinking. But the bottom line is this. My jaw dropped when editor number 12 asked the Prime Minister of India, Sir, what is your message for Sachin Tendulkar? I'm not making it up. Go back and check. There was a serious question asked, what is your message for Sachin Tendulkar? Because he scored some double century before that. But when I asked the Prime Minister a question, there was no reply. Much of the media went out and then spoke about how the Prime Minister had snubbed a reporter rather than asking about the question which I had asked. I had never felt more lonely and more empowered than I felt that day in February 2011. That experience singes my heart. I want to de-Lutyanize journalism. There is no place in the world which has compromised journalism as much as Lutyens' Delhi. And if there is one reason we are launching Republic TV, it is only this reason, that this country deserves a better media than Delhi Gymkhana media. Ask yourself, after Chitra Subramaniam and Bofors 1989, 1990, right up to 2010, May 31st CWG scam, was there no corruption in India? What were all the newspaper owners and editors doing for those 60 years of our independence? They have no right to teach me journalism anymore. I have broken away. I don't believe in their rules. I will break their rules. I will reach the people. I will destroy that very decrepit institutions of print journalism that have existed in Delhi. And if they want to pass a comment on me, my flavor, my style, or the amplitude of my voice, they are welcome to, because I have seen through them. My next question is this, which is question number 5. And the moment, Sudhaji, you want me to stop, tell me to stop. I have a capacity to go on for a long time. I'll carry on for 2-3 hours, but whenever you feel I'm crossing the time limit, please stop me. Can I continue with 2 or 3 examples, please? When I'm beginning to bore you, tell me. Thank you, sir. Republic wants to know, sir. Republic. The Republic wants to know, sir. The Republic wants to know, is there any place in this Republic, which is question number 5 today, is there any place in Republic for tolerance, for letting prejudice pass off as tradition? Let me explain this to you. I began my career in 1996. I was in my early 20s, straight out of college. I was very, very excited about journalism. I was given a U-matic camera, and I was sent to cover a story in Sabarimala. And I took the camera, and I trudged up without slippers, barefoot up Sabarimala, with my camera person who told me, Arnab, you want to learn journalism, first learn to carry a camera. I went up. The story was very interesting. There was a district magistrate in Patinamthitta, which is the district in Sabarimala. She wanted to inspect what was happening inside Sabarimala, because she said, if there's a stampede, if there's problems, what are the administrative arrangements? She'd done some great work, but this district magistrate was not allowed to visit the shrine. And she had taken this up. And I found it a fascinating story of misogyny and discrimination against women, where a senior IAS officer was not being allowed to inspect her own arrangements in Sabarimala shrine. I did a 2-minute story. Nobody noticed. Absolutely nobody noticed. I came back. It was an instruction for me in what was going wrong in journalism. Now pass it 20 years later. 20 years later, I'm told a 28-year-old woman is lying on the road with another group of women. In busloads they have come. It's Shani Shignapur shrine in Maharashtra. This woman is lying on the road and refusing to get up and saying that why would a woman not be allowed to enter the Shani Shignapur shrine in Maharashtra? Why does a shrine become impure? Similarly, on a parallel note, a campaign started for letting women enter Sabarimala. Now, I know many of you may have different perspectives on it, but I ask these questions because these questions need to be asked. In Haji Ali, 11 women were protesting outside the shrine because it was told that women cannot be allowed inside the Haji Ali shrine in Mumbai. We did a campaign called the Right to Pray campaign. I don't know if you noticed what happened in the Right to Pray campaign. It started in November 2015, the first day of Sabarimala and the first day of Haji Ali. 286 days after we picked up the right to pray in the context of Sabarimala, the Haji Ali Dargah Trust allowed women equal access to the sanctum sanctorum of the shrine as men. It had denied women post-2012. This marked the culmination of a relentless campaign that began 1 year earlier on the part of Hindu and Muslim women to access the sanctum sanctorum of the shrines of Sabarimala, Shani Shignapur, and Haji Ali. The guiding light of this campaign was our fundamental right to equality under Article 14, prohibition from discrimination under Article 15, and the right to life and liberty under Article 21, which should take precedence over the right of any religious institution or any religious group to manage its own affairs, especially if these practices violate an individual's fundamental rights. It was disruption. This is disruption. It is disruption from media and society against discriminatory practices which are passed off as tradition, which led to a change vis-a-vis Shani Shignapur and Haji Ali, and I really hope that this continues in the future. Now, in this country of 1.3 billion people, I take pride today to say that our laws are not perfect. Last year, I openly came out and started campaigning for a uniform civil code in India. I am not a right-winger. For 70 years, we were told that if you ask for a uniform civil code in India, you become a right-winger. I find it unacceptable. We are tolerant of a law that allows for a Muslim man to WhatsApp or post his divorce to his wife simply by saying talaq 3 times. So you put talaq 3 times on WhatsApp and you can divorce your wife. We are tolerant of a system, and we consider it to be secular and tolerant. And we are considered to be liberal if we allow a system which does not allow one law for one India. We are tolerant of a system that opposes what is encoded in Article 44 of the Directive Principles of India. We are tolerant of there being a legal sanction for imprisonment for 10 years under Section 377, a law that passes a legal judgment depending on what you may be doing within the confines of your public space. I have openly been against triple talaq. I'm openly for a uniform civil code. I ask you, am I a right-winger in doing so? Should I not ask whether laws which divide India should be allowed or whether laws should unite India? Why should this republic tolerate and hesitate and hiccup to bring one law for all Indians? One law for all Indians, irrespective of their religious faiths or what they do as consenting adults within the privacy of their own home. And if the idea of India in its 70th year is to broadcast a united India, then what place in a united India is there place for triple talaq, and opposition to the Uniform Civil Code, or standing up against the LGBT community have? More importantly, and these fundamental questions must be asked, where are the lobbies that protested because Bharat ko tukre tukre kar denge slogans were shut down? Where are those lobbies when there is an issue at hand to fight for the unity of India legally? I want to know today why the lobbies that proudly proclaim that an expression of freedom of expression is to stand up and say we will destroy India bit by bit, and then claim in public forums that our shout to divide and break up India is an expression of our freedom of expression, then I want to have an example of the same freedom of expression. I want the same people to stand up and say, you cannot divorce your wife on WhatsApp by saying talaq, talaq, talaq 3 times. I want that political correctness to end. Where are the campaigns? Where are the petitions? And where are the candlelight marches? Now, I've been called a lot of things. And I want you to define what I am today. A lot of things have been said. A lot of people have tried to bracket me, put me in a box, to label me, because I don't think of every alphabet before I speak my words. I want to ask you today, I stand for a uniform civil code. Does that make me a right-winger? I stand up for the national anthem and will always speak in support of the Indian Army. Does that make me a Sanghi? I will fight till the LGBT community in India seeks justice and the state stops interfering in their personal and private choices. What does that make me? I am against a legal sanction under the garb of religion for men to WhatsApp divorce to their wives on their whims. Does that make me anti-secular? I don't believe in there being gender discrimination anywhere, even if the oldest religious text tells you to do so in whatever religion that is. Does that make me anti-religion? I believe in free markets, and I believe in calling out the hypocrisy of using the garb of foreign funding, American funding, to undertake FCRA violations. What does that make me? And I believe also in calling out polarization by Hindu groups and Muslim groups and Christian groups and every other group, even in thought, what does that make me? That makes me part of this republic. A republic that my team is going to launch for you. You who don't want to be bracketed. You who simply want to see a right and a wrong and who have the courage to fight only and unhesitatingly for the right. And no, believe me, this is not a leaning. This is black and white. And together we will, you and I will drive, pave, and create this unimaginable change through Republic. That is my promise today, and that is my promise to you. Thank you very much for listening to me. In 2 months, people have said, on what basis are you setting up a news channel? And I'm saying this to you today. We're setting up a news channel, a movement, on the basis of your love, your hope, your criticism, your affection, your bouquets, your brickbats, and your viewership. Thank you very much for calling me here today and letting me speak among you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
First question, Arnab. How do you stay motivated against so many odds, especially from politicians?
Well, Sanjay, I believe that this country has changed a lot in 6 years or 7 years. And I see the pace of change. And I genuinely have seen hope. And I've seen people on the back foot come on the front foot. And there are moments in my life when I feel that this moment in television should really be captured as a moment of a changing India. I remember that when we were doing this debate on triple talaq, Shazia Ilmi, a woman leader of the Aam Aadmi Party, came on my program. And when she spoke out against it, a Maulvi told her, in Hindi he said to her, that aap to Musalman aurat hai hi nahi, aap apna huliya badal dijiye. And I saw that the first reference to an independent woman was an assault on her personally. I saw the fire in Shazia when she fought back. And I know that day who won and who lost. What gives me faith is the fact that I sometimes come out of my program and I pick up a phone, Sanjay, and when I pick up the phone, I see the animated voices of the people. And what gives me hope is that sometimes I'm called in hospital beds by old people who hold my hand and say that we really wish that this had been happening before in our time, but we want to give you our support. That is what keeps you going, Sanjay. There are a lot of people in this country, a lot of people who are positive. I am incredibly positive. And I'll just wrap this up by saying one thing, Sanjay. When I entered college, I was suddenly reminded of my caste because Delhi University was burning with the Mandal Commission agitation. In my second year of college, I was suddenly reminded of my religion because Babri Masjid was brought down. I do believe that if there had been this kind of media in 1990 and 1992, then this country would have not burnt in the way that politicians have burnt it in the past. We want to stop the burning. And therefore, my aspiration is for the media to be a controlling influence in our society, to invoke a sense of fear. There has to be fear of the camera. The camera is not a chronicler. The camera is a watch on behalf of the people. That really keeps me going. As for these political threats, I don't take them seriously anymore. These politicians also presumably don't take me seriously.
What about the reports that you were offered Y plus security and all that? Was that true or just a rumor?
I don't know who's offering what security. I cannot afford to walk around with 22 security people. I walked in here, I ran through the road.
You can have 2 discussions with 22 security people.
But let it float. You see, the problem in our profession is that you do some good, you are misunderstood. I have no security people. One day I was driving down the Bandra-Worli Sea Link. I saw a Lamborghini drive at 300 kilometers per hour. I became a socially active citizen, and I stopped the Lamborghini, and I went to the Bandra-Worli police station and registered a case. The next day, an article came out saying Arnab stopped. Arnab caught in his Lamborghini speeding on the sea link. I don't respond to media. I do my work, and I don't think I need any security, Sanjay.
This was a question by Rajesh Nambiar, but if I can slip in a wildcard question as a moderator, do you believe that what happened in Tamil Nadu the last few days truly reflects the will of the people?
Absolutely not. By what dimension does it represent the will of the people? I feel embarrassed in knowing that there are so many people who could have spoken up and didn't. I feel proud of the people who came out and spoke out against the drama that was going on. This is not just wrong. This is not just wrong. This is undemocratic. This is defeating the mandate of the people. The people, under no stretch of circumstances, want a mandate to be twisted in factions and groups and self-styled cults in the way that it has happened in Tamil Nadu, which is why I said that I did miss being on air when this
What
whole
would
episode
your
happened.
topic at the 9 o'clock news have been on the day the floor test was held?
No, I am not giving you impromptu questions here.
Okay, Usha Balakrishnan
Thank you.
wants to know whether the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits, during the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits, why didn't we have the awakening much earlier, which we have now?
Yeah, because Usha, frankly, the media was just chronicling what was happening at that point of time. Even till now, people don't speak up for the Kashmiri Pandits. Because if you speak up for the Kashmiri Pandits, you have to say that Kashmiri Pandits left Kashmir because of the radicalization that happened in the state, because of terrorist groups. Why the media? Even the people who lost their own family members at the hands of terrorists don't speak up. Does Mirwais speak up? Does Mirwais Omar Farooq answer the question, who killed his father? Does Sajjad Lone answer the question, who killed his father? When people don't speak up about the loss that they have suffered in their own families out of a sense of fear, I'm not surprised that the media is quiet. But I can assure you, we have not been quiet on the issue of Kashmir or on the issue of Pakistan. We have in fact linked the two again and again repeatedly.
Okay, I think I have enough for a 2020 kind of interview, but Omkar wants to know the language of Republic. Are you going to be bilingual or only English?
I have, Omkar, you know, I believe in English in the way that we speak English, the way we Indians speak English. And I am very, very happy to say that there will be one anchor, a very prominent anchor from Tamil Nadu, who will be anchoring on Republic. Because I think the days of this fake British accent are over. And I proudly say that, you know, I studied in Kendriya Vidyalaya. My English will be a combination of Jabalpur, Pune, Jodhpur, Shillong, wherever I have gone, and a mix of all that. But I certainly cannot say that I have some Oxford English in me. I went there for some time, couldn't do well, and came back. So what is the language? The language is a new language. It is Indian English. It is English. It is English with a mix of Tamil, Kannada, Bengali, Assamese, whatever it is.
No,
It
as
is-
an
it
accent
is-
or the
no,
language? Will it be
as
bilingual?
as in sensibility, as in culture, as in the voice of India. And I think that when we look up to people who speak with, you know, a French accent, then there is no need to deride people who speak in wonderful smattering of different Indian languages. In fact, I feel that we should launch even the logo of our channel in multiple languages of this country. The language cannot divide me. I speak English, I don't speak a word of Tamil, but I can't be divided from any of you at all.
I must point out that ever since Arnab launched, when he started Times Now, I think that was a starting point in which the Republic of South India got coverage. Otherwise, it was all North-centric. You needed a midnight arrest, or you needed a sensational arrest, or a tsunami to actually be on the national map.
Absolutely, absolutely, Sanjay.
And that's an important change Arnab brought about in his previous avatar.
And if I may add to that, Sanjay, I have never understood why a marketing manager like Arvind Kejriwal gets so much coverage. And the reason I'm saying this is essentially because, and I can say this to Arvind, I said this to him, I said, where were you when we broke all the scams? Where were you, Kiran Bedi? Where were you, Anna Hazare, Prashant Bhushan, Yogendra Yadav, Shanti Bhushan? Where were you when we were taking the risks on corruption? You simply did a little marketing campaign around it and then owned it, right? So I wanted to make that point in the context.
Do you then believe?
I therefore believe, I feel stunned today when minute details of the Delhi Assembly sometimes dominate 90% of English news channels. It's just unfair to the people of this country. And there was a time when I was broadcasting out of Bengaluru because someone in the family was not well, And I was anchoring out of my small studio in Bengaluru. So every evening I would come out on MG Road and meet people, and everybody would ask me, sir, so much is happening in Bengaluru. Why is everybody only reporting on Arvind Kejriwal? And truly there was no reply. This is a very Delhi-centric, you can't make Indian media so Delhi-centric.
Especially during the floods in Chennai in 2015.
Especially during the floods in Chennai, the English media woke up late. Now you can wake up late and then turn, you can say all our reporters are rescue agents. They're not. The fact is that the Chennai floods was largely ignored for the first 24 hours, which is grossly unfair.
Right. Mr. Bhaskaran actually makes a point rather than asking a question. He says, under extreme stress from all quarters, how can I come to normalcy, and how is the theme tolerance applied? So I'll take that as a point. Umesh Agarwal wants to know whether secularism can be redefined to promote mutual respect among faiths. Right now it's being used for majority bashing and minority appeasement. How do you plan to redefine the image of secularism? And if I may add to this, just a flip side, if I eat beef, which I don't, by the way, does that make me an anti-national?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Those who want to define your nationalism by what you eat are doing a disservice to people in this country. I'm totally and completely against them. We have to come up with a slightly more complex understanding of what is secularism. Secularism cannot just be defined in a set way. The things which I've mentioned are a pointer in that direction. So I absolutely believe that, you can't link not eating beef to nationalism. I mean, you have to be insane to say something like that.
Ganesh, very relevant question. He says, how does the media stay relevant in the face of technology and changes triggered by the social media? I referred to #journalism in my introductory remarks. And newsmakers themselves share news on the media. Now, BBC Arnab had actually made some time back, had made it mandatory for their journalists to break their news on their BBC platform as opposed to the social media. Can you, in this, this age of speed news, can you actually overtake the speed of the social media?
No, you cannot, and you should not compete. Because plain vanilla journalism is over. Everyone on their phones get enough.
Why are you not on Twitter? You have the most vociferous views among all journalists, but why is Arnab Goswami not on Twitter?
I'm too sensitive. I think I'll just get affected.
Okay.
And I'll have to keep responding. And I don't feel like saying good night and good morning every day. There has to be something more substantial to say. But we have a domain name, Republic World, on which we'll interact with people. So Twitter is just to,
force multiplier.
Personally, for me, I'm not so interesting as a person, to keep talking about myself. We have a hashtag called Republic where we will talk about our news.
No, not yourself, about your views, about your
but anyway, I put out a megaphone at 9 o'clock every night. So, to
this
add
is through the day, anyway. Chirag from ISEC says, what do you feel is the role of the youth in shaping the future of our country, considering most leaders are above 50?
Well, in India, it's considered to be youthful to be 50. We have a youth leader who's approaching 50. I don't remember the date.
Parimala wants to know.
No.
You want to continue this?
I want to continue this. Unless they don't want me to continue. But I said I'll be bindas today. Let me speak. You understand bindas? It's a Mumbai expression. It's all right. Letting down my hair. So I met the youth leader and he asked me how old I was before the interview. So I said, I'm 40 years old. He said, oh, you're younger to me. I said, yes, but I have 19 years of work experience. So I don't know how it went. It was great fun.
Okay, have you done? Should I ask the next question? Okay, Parimala wants to know, okay, why is most news negative? Why is news so negative, sensational? Why does only negativity make news? What happens to the soft stories, the feel-good human interest stories? I remember on NDTV we used to have an "And Finally," which was a soft story. Right? And I must also point out something that is coming up in my book about Arnab, and Arnab was news editor. He was not somebody who's only the face of a channel. Arnab, in his previous positions, has also been somebody who's always encouraged reporters and has even reworked scripts. He's done a lot of work behind the scenes. I remember you would ask me to go to Yerwadi a year after that fire tragedy, and I did a story, an investigative story with those inmates still chained And I remember you vetted that script and you made it a headline. But the bigger question here is, why is that there's so much of negativity on television, especially primetime television?
Yeah, because for a simple reason, negativity has to be challenged and negativity has to be destroyed. The way to destroy and decimate negativity is not by avoiding it, it is by confronting it. And since you're speaking of stories, let me elucidate this in the audience. You would remember, Sanjay, that there was a reporter called Sampad Mahapatra. There still is in NDTV, great reporter. He once called me and he said that there is a story which has happened in the KBK belt in Orissa, the Kalahandi, Bolangir, Koraput belt, one of the most backward parts of Orissa. And he said, I want to go and report. And when he reported and he went to the place, he found that an entire village was dying because there was mass starvation and there was a drought. And the people were so without food that they took the seeds of mangoes and mixed muddy water in it and made it into a soup. And in that heat, the soup became rotten. And these people were so hungry that they were eating rotten mango soup, which was poisonous. And they were poisoning themselves to death to fight starvation. I was so angry, I took a mic and I stood outside gate number 1 of Parliament till the food minister came. And I asked the question, saying that, why is this happening? The food minister told me then, in Hindi he said, इस देश में इतने करोड़ लोगों के देश में 4-5 लोग मर जाते हैं और आप मीडिया वाले बात का बतंगड़ बना देते हैं. In other words, in this country of many crores, a few people die and you make a big hype around it. Sanjay, in those days of government TV, I managed to smuggle in that soundbite because I deliberately delayed my edit that night. Because I always know if you delay your edit, the last story gets put in the news bulletin. It was a tape bulletin and nobody checks it. So the government censors won't see it because it comes at the last minute. So I pretended that my tapes were lost, I was not being able to manage. And suddenly last minute I told the editor, laga do, put this bite in. We put it in, it went to BSNL where it was uplinked from. And the DD guys did not see it. It went on air and the rest is history, the minister had to apologize. For a 22, 23-year-old, I felt a thrill. I felt a thrill at that time. Because suddenly, I realized that there is this great profession of ours can deliver impact. Now, that answers your question, why is there negativity? To attack negativity, to finish negativity, you have to confront it. I don't believe in the India Matters kind of journalism, where the last line of every story is a whine, W-H-I-N-E, where you say, unless the government does something, the situation will get worse. To force accountability, there has to mix of fear and aggressive journalism, which will force accountability in our country. If you just keep complaining and telling people about the good things, believe me, every government will like. If you were to tell Suresh Kalmadi what beautiful medals, what beautiful stadiums, what a wonderful music, he would love it. And while I was breaking the CWG scam, and I'll conclude with this, while I was breaking the CWG scam, suddenly on a rival channel, a strap started appearing, the real story of CWG. Hear it from the man himself, exposed the CWG truth. So I wondered how I, with all the documents, had been beaten by another channel. Suddenly on that channel at 8 o'clock, Suresh Kalmadi appears with another male anchor. I don't take names, I don't like to take names. The male anchor looks intensely at Suresh Kalmadi and says, Mr. Kalmadi. He said, yes. All these allegations against you. He says, yes. Are they true? He says, no. And the breaking news goes, Suresh Kalmadi says all charges false. Now my question is, that man who was asking the question is not confronting negativity. Right? He is doing a deal with negativity. I don't do a deal with negativity. I attack it.
See this, it brings me to my next question to take off from.
So how do you deal with fake news and real news for an innocent observer?
You have to get multiple sources. You have to get multiple sources. But I have very often, there's a site called Faking News, which produces news about me, which is fake news, which everybody considers to be true. So according to that site, I have been to jail multiple times.
Taking off from your Kalmadi example, there is this mad rush and scramble for exclusives. You'll find sometimes even when India wins a match which is live on a sports channel, you'll have breaking news, India wins. And the same person, the element of the SimSat, the simulator satellite, where you interview the same person beforehand, and finally, at 9 o'clock, he's live on all the channels. And the race for TRPs, I don't know whether you said it, but it was attributed to you. I don't mind this rat race as long as I'm the lead rat. Now, I don't know if you said it, but how would you respond to? You didn't say it.
I said it.
You said it. How would
I'll
you
tell
respond
you what
to?
I said.
Yeah.
I said I'm a very quiet person by nature. I didn't want to be in the rat race. But now that I'm in the rat race, I must be the fastest rat. Now, that's an honest statement. I don't think it's...
Sensationalism, that most people, when they talk about the media, see, the media today is under, the work of journalists is dissected thanks to the social media. How do you feel sensationalism has perhaps, or do you feel sensationalism has eroded the credibility of the mainstream media?
No, sensationalism by whose definition? I say what a certain channel did by putting an interview of a rapist was sensationalism. And if those people say that my coverage of Prince, a 6-year-old boy who fell into a borewell, who only came out alive because the entire national media camped in Kurukshetra in Haryana, I don't know if you remember the story of Prince. I say if that is sensationalism, then so be it. Because I feel the media lost its job. In 1996, Sanjay, Appan Menon was our news editor. He told me to go and cover a story about a child who'd fallen into a borewell. I was fresh out of Oxford. I refused. And I said, I want to cover BJP, Congress, Foreign Affairs, something. Appan told me, Sanjay, that one day will come when you'll realize that the story of child falling into a borewell that was meant to be covered by a government is a story of apathy. It's the first headline, not a story that you should dismiss. I did not listen to him. I did not cover that story. I don't know whether that child lived or died. But 10 years later, when Prince fell into a borewell, it was as if my conscience had come back to teach me a lesson. For 4 days, I had completely lost the ratings battles. Our channel had collapsed. My career was on the line. For 4 days, I covered the story of Prince because I had lost everything in life anyway. As a 31-year-old, I was being considered to be a professional failure. And they say in life, when you have nothing to lose, then you go for the kill. I at least said, let me do something for this child. For 4 days, we camped. For 4 days, we opened the phone lines. We opened the Twitter, email, everything. The whole country would, respond if there would be one shot of Prince's hand moving from left to right. The whole country came together to save a child. And when Prince was brought out alive, I could feel the heartbeat in me, And when the army came out and said that Prince is alive, my whole newsroom started crying. Now, if somebody says to me, Sanjay, and all these people in Lutyens, Delhi say Arnab does sensational journalism, if coverage of this kind is sensational, so be it. If following D.A. Raja with a mic till you harass the hell out of him is sensationalism, then so be it. Who defines what is sensationalism and who's not? Am I making...
Absolutely. This is Anita Pradeep's question. What is the secret of your arrogance?
Anita, where are you? Hey. What is the secret of I'm not arrogant by nature. I don't know, I mean it in a good way. You see, I was taught one thing in life, Anita, that if somebody says something behind your back, then you ignore the person. But if somebody counters you in front of you, you debate with the person, then one of you is right. Now, that's not arrogance, that's an obsessive debater in me. But I don't do it all the time. I don't do this at home. Thank you.
No, I said in my introductory remarks, he's one of the most soft-spoken persons you can ever come across, one-on-one. The final question, maybe we'll try and sneak in a few more.
Yes,
Deepa.
sure.
Deepa wants to know whether Republic will have programs pertaining to the youth and the challenges they face, or only politics. Will politics be your staple?
No. Politics will be the place where we'll seek accountability on behalf of the people. Our voice is youthful. And when I mean youth, I don't mean a demographic youth. I talk about people who believe in the future of this country, who in a very simple way feel that you can use the media as a catalyst. I am saying, come and use me. I'm bringing together a group of journalists. I'm not overpaying them. I don't have money. I can't fight the battle on resources. But what I do know today is that the world is democratic in the sense that nobody can separate me from you. If big money separates me from you, I know that good journalism will find a way to reach you. So 2 months from now, and I'm saying it absolutely sincerely, if you do not get Republic when we have launched, call and put pressure on people to put our journalism to you. Watch us, like us, hate us. Experience the journalism we put through, because we will be Republic, the voice of the people, right? And we are putting our journalism to the test. This is the first time that a group of journalists has come out and has said that we can do good journalism independently. In a country where media is sold out to corporate and political interests, this is a change. So I actually am among you today to openly and quite shamelessly seek your support. So I want that support from all of you for whatever good, bad we've done. Because I don't want this journalism to die. I want this journalism to be institutionalized and to live beyond and after me, if necessary.
Good luck to you in your challenge to break those barriers, and especially to break the Chinese wall between editorial and marketing. If we can take 1 or 2 more questions. I know there are a lot of them. It's such a well-behaved audience. Yes, sir.
So I can't hear.
You can shout out your question.
I completely agree with you. So we are on the same page, sir, on this one.
He is not on air. He was not on air on that day, so. Yes. One second, sir. 1 second. Not Parliament, yeah.
So I have openly campaigned for the right to read. I've done programs on it. I'm told that it's too complicated to implement, but I'm totally for it. Totally for it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Sir.
Yes.
I want to ask you, will you all watch Republic or not?
Yeah.
At least let me, after all this frankly speaking that the gentleman has done, let me go back feeling that I will have your viewership, so will you watch it or not? To say, because my team of reporters is working really hard. Day and night we are working to bring this channel alive to you. So that is my promise. You like me, hate me, please don't not watch Republic when we launch. That's all.
I think Arnab will have his highest viewership TRPs from Chennai. That's for sure. Yes, sir. Yes.
And will you call your cable operator or not if you don't get the channel? That's all. Please, I request that.
Yeah, one last question, please. Yes, sir. Okay, we'll have we'll have a voice vote. Whoever can shout the question the loudest. Okay, he wins it. Yes, sir.
Yes. News are at 8. Okay. I will do News Hour on Sundays also this time on Republic. That's my promise to you. If required, I'll do it 7 days a night. But you have to watch me this time.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ladies and
one
gentlemen.
last question from there. One last question, yes. Yes, sir. The gentleman with the tie? Yes.
Sir,
Wow.
I'm overwhelmed. Sir, your viewership is my greatest investment, and you are my greatest security. So thank you for that, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you for
Thanks,
that.
ladies and gentlemen. Let's just stand up and give Arnab Goswami and Republic a lovely ovation. We couldn't have asked for a better evening. Please wait for the formal vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of FICCI Flow Chennai, it is my pleasure to thank Mr. Arnab Goswami for sparing the time to be in Chennai for the very first time ever. It was absolutely delightful to hear him in person. I request our chairperson, Sudha Shivakumar, to present a token of our appreciation to him.